You are now listening to the new Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time at BringDownTheBand.com, and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Sun King Brewery. Support the new Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
We're now tuned in to the new Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. The entire crew is here, starting off up top with my man, voice of Indianapolis, Jay Moore. How are you, sir?
Doing well, fully vaccinated,
Okay.
you know. So, I mean, take from that what you will. If you're one of those people who's still trying to say it's a conspiracy, look, in front of me was somebody driving an S-Class Mercedes. Somebody behind me had a Range Rover. You know, if they're giving it to us, they're giving it to us all. So it is what it is.
That don't sound like that Sharks vaccine, so I feel you. DJ Jay Diff, what's happening, man?
Salutations, what's good, homie?
Oh, man, I can't call it. You, I think if I'm not mistaken by our records, you are one shot away from being fully vaccinated. Is that correct?
Yeah, I opted for the Pfizer, so I got 2 shots. My next one is scheduled for next week, so
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I have not flipped and turned into a zombie yet. So everything is good. My superpowers haven't kicked in yet either.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on
next
mine.
time I get my next shot. I hope that kicks in at least. So we'll see.
All right, I can dig it. From the bringing down the bed headquarters. Rocking that new exclusive one of one, no bad ideas gear. My man Longevity. How are you, sir?
I am doing okay. Thanks.
The product placement, man. Continue to get blessed. I like that. It's a good look on you.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, man. It's good.
I've had this shirt for like 2 years. I've had this shirt for like 2 years. But
You literally talking to the most unbothered fashionist on the show.
Yeah. Lone. Lone is just takes advantage of certain things, but I can't be mad at him. That's what he should do.
takes
So if he's
advantage.
available and able to get if he's able to get certain things, I would do the same thing as I was if it were available to me. So I ain't mad at him. You know? You got perks, use them. That's fine.
Perks?
Shout out to
You want to talk about perks?
No, I don't want to talk about perks. Shout out to the chat, man. Waffle House Pimp, I see you. D Frog, I see you. I think Alex is in the building as well. The Flood, I see you. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. Nicole is in the building. Said I have a dope hat, so we're gonna have a positive show. I see you. Appreciate you coming and rocking with us as always. We have missed you, so we glad you're back in the spot. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the rundown here. Give me a second. I get my life together as always.
Life together, huh?
Let's see.
Get it together.
I can just gonna talk about it. I can talk about it out in the open, man. I just gotta get my life together sometime. That's
You're
all.
right, huh?
Yeah, at least you know.
Yeah. Step one, you gotta accept it, man. You just gotta accept it. Shout out to Lone for my cloud lifter. I'm a new person today. You know what I'm saying? I learned some more technology. So I'm learning, man. I'm a streamer now. All right, man. Let's get into it. Lone has turned me into a streamer. I'm probably about a C+, probably C-, C+, regular C level streamer at this point. But I'm improving. I'm getting there. All right, so here's an article is in relation to DMX. And shout out to DMX first and foremost, because I'm sure everybody knows by now that he's in a bad situation right now. And I see I try not to watch or see too many reports, because some people report certain things and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't know what's valid or what's not. The last I heard, he had still not come out of if I'm not mistaken, a coma or anything like that. Like, he's still in the hospital. His family has come out to see him. People have been having visuals, things of that nature, praying for him and all that, which is dope. Because that's a part of my childhood, our childhood. We all grew up rocking with DMX. And
I was an adult when DMX came out. Remember, I'm the oldest of the old heads.
I mean,
I was in the
childhood
club listening to Get At Me, dog.
Childhood might have been a little too far back, but you know what I mean. Like, we've been rocking with DMX ever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really praying for that brother. I hope he come out of it, man. Like, I don't believe it what, but I just really hope he can pull out of that, because he's an icon, man. Definitely a legend. But there's an article on page 6 where it says Funkmaster Flex as a music industry friend should have helped DMX. And I'm gonna read a quote that he said in relation to that. He said, the music business is a gorilla. It's a bottomless pit of happiness or depression. He said, I don't want to say people don't help you, but I do want to say there are people who actually know that start struggling, but don't help sometimes. And then another part of it, he says, people can find the picture they had with the person that's going through a tragedy in 30 seconds, but haven't called that person in 10 years. So Flex is pretty much coming out saying, he kind of, pointing it towards the industry. Some of the industry homies really not checking in on DMX. We've all, witnessed him kind of going in and out of rehabs. He's been on the TV shows, and he actually was on Drink Champs talking about his new album that he had just recorded. So things appeared to be trending up, which was dope. How do y'all feel about Flex saying that? Like, is it really the responsibility of, his peers or artists, depending on, friendships? We know that varies sometimes with artists. Or is it more about the family, like his inner circle? Like, reading that and hearing that coming from Flex, how did that make you feel when you initially heard it? Jay Diff, I'll come to you first. What do you think about Flex saying that?
I'm sure it's probably a little bit of truth to it, but in the same token, who's to say that nobody was trying to get out for DMX? Unless he's somebody that's close with DMX like that, how would he know? I don't necessarily think it's their responsibility, because from I understand, there were people that was trying to put him in position to get help at certain times. But at the end of the day, you can't help anybody that doesn't want to help themselves, and you can only do so much. And he's a grown man. You can't monitor this grown man 24 hours a day, telling what he can and can't do. In the same token, people are in his corner and they weren't helping him out. Yeah, they will be responsible for that. But I think in the industry, we all knew he's been at this problem. He's been battling these demons pretty much the whole time. Been in the limelight. It's just, it took an unfortunate turn, which usually happens when you're battling a situation like that you can't get control of. I mean, he's been incarcerated many times, and locked away because of this, amongst other things. And it, for some reason, he just can't get it off his back. It's trauma that happened to him when he was a kid, unfortunately.
Right.
So, you can't really place all that blame on the industry per se. Hopefully his inner circle has been trying to help keep him on the right path. Who's to say that they haven't? And I can't really speak on that.
I can dig it. I can dig that. Jay Moore, jump in there. That make you feel?
Well,
It's on his face value.
While I think I understand Funkmaster Flex sentiment, sometimes you got to realize where it's coming from. Funkmaster Flex feels like he is a person who wants to call out people in the industry for not doing things because they haven't done particular things for Funkmaster Flex. So I don't even know if this is coming from a pure place. I may be wrong about that, but I don't care. Like, Funkmaster Flex be on some, like, in his mind, everything is Jay-Z's fault anyway. But this is the thing with a lot of times people just want to write off addicts as people who have just serious drug problems, and seeing it firsthand, in my family, not to go into too many specifics, but people who are addicts, it is a disease and it needs to be treated as such. And a lot of times we don't view that, like, instead of in this country, we treat people who are addicts, instead of treating it as a public health crisis, we like to just treat it as some sort of level of criminality. And so that's why a lot of people don't have a certain level of empathy for people who go through these things. DMX, he's one of these people who's been in and out of rehab. We've talked about, DMX being going into rehab, on this show before, but it really comes down to, you can only help someone so much who doesn't want to help themselves, and it's been something we've seen that has taken a lot of entertainers and people who aren't entertainers. I don't just want to leave it in the realm of entertainers, because that makes it seem like it's not that big of a deal. But, this is a podcast where we talk about the hip hop industry. You talk about Mac Miller.
Yeah.
DJ AM. Like, that was the one that really broke my heart, because here's a dude who survived the airplane crash.
Yeah,
who survives an airplane crash?
It was crazy.
And then winds up dying of a drug overdose. So, this is something to where you could have everybody in your corner saying, yo, DMX, you can do it. Yo, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for themselves, and they can't, and they can't really see themselves getting to the end of this thing called addiction, because once again, it's something that you have to think about and maintain. If you've ever known anybody who is literally an addict, like, there's no really such thing as a former addict. It's a consistent, you're
Tough,
consistently in recovery,
It's heavy.
and so that's where DMX was. He could, when he was on Drink Champs, and I remember he did verses, verses, and once again, we're talking about something with verses not even a year old. So he did it with Snoop, and it seemed like, okay, yeah, DMX seems like he's in a good place right now, but you don't know what it is when doors close and the light goes out. A lot of people are fighting with this same thing every day, and you could have 100 people in your corner, but once you're by yourself, you have to you're the one that has to deal with this. So I don't want to say, oh well, maybe Leor Cohen or Ja Rule or Jay-Z should have called him more. No,
I'm not going that route.
You have to understand that this is about DMX, and this is a personal fight that he's been dealing with since before he was, in the public eye. And so once again, at this point, the best any of us could do is pray for his recovery. And, and if he somehow gets out of this and he winds up waking up and he winds up being okay, that maybe this is enough for him. And he sees like, yo, I can't do this again. I've been given another chance, because once again, you can't help people who don't want to help themselves. And for all the things that maybe for all the people in DMX's corner, like, it doesn't matter if he still wants to get this high that it puts his health in this level of danger. So I pray for his recovery. I hope he gets better, but this isn't anyone else's fault but DMX's. And I know that sounds cruel, but it really is like your personal fight with your demons, whatever you
there's a level of accountability.
There has to be a level of accountability to where
there's definitely a level.
It could be one person that's in your corner 100. If you're not willing to do the work and stay away from the things that are a part of your downfall, then there's nothing anybody can do to help you.
There's always going to be a level of accountability. It's funny that you said the part about Flex and how he approaches certain things. I didn't even think about that until you said that. Like, who knows where this is actually coming from? And even Terry made a good point where he was like, how do you know it hasn't happened? So that's kind of it's a real broad statement.
I mean, it's nice. Flex got to be in the newspaper, whatever.
Yeah, that's
what
how
many times did Flex call DMX? Don't talk about other people. If you didn't call him, don't talk about, like, you're in the industry too. Don't talk about what other people may or may not have done if you didn't call him either.
What do you think about this, just on how it comes off from Flex's standpoint?
I don't care about Flex.
All right. It's cool with me.
In the sense, and what I mean, what I mean by that is, it's just kind of like what Jay said. Like, it's just you don't have to make a public statement about this. You can go help him in your own personal ways. DMX, I don't know if you guys saw the interview that DMX had with 𝗀𝗲𝗋 𝗀𝗲 and his show recently. DMX kind of looked a little rough, and he was also talking about when he first got hooked, and he was 14 years old, and it was like his manager or something that got him hooked. That laced
mentor,
his
somebody looked
mentor or something. Yeah, laced his something he was doing, and he's been hooked since he was 14. So, like Jay said again, he's been hooked on this stuff. He's been addicted since he was,
teenager,
not even old enough to drive. You know what I mean? Like since he was just a little kid, and addiction is something that is demonized, and even I don't even have the extreme take of like it's like on DMX to like fix it. It's just his issue. You know what I mean? Like it's nobody's fault. It's not his fault. You know what I mean? We all have addictions and things that we're addicted to. It just so happens that some of our addictions aren't crack or alcohol or stuff that's going to be detrimental to our lives in the public eye like that. So I don't know. We talked about this the last time that DMX I think was it when he went into rehab or got out of rehab or he checked himself in.
Rehab. I think when he checked himself. He checked himself.
So I mean, when you think about that, when even the statement he made, like he made the decision that he needed to check himself in because he didn't want to be detrimental to his family and everything like that. So I mean, it's a struggle, and there's nothing like there's really nothing I can say. I can't really put it on him. It's really unfortunate that that they were first saying that it was like a trauma or an OD induced heart attack, and then they kind of came back a little bit and said that it wasn't. They didn't clarify that it was the heart attack was because of an overdose. Heard conflicting statements. I honestly don't know at this point what it is, but that I'm guessing that's probably what it was. But I wish him well.
They was giving him oxygen or something for like 30 minutes, and that's partly of what's going on with him right now. Little brain function or something.
I said he's in a vegetative state. Yeah, so
I saw one report where they were like he's breathing on his own now, and then there was another one where it's like okay, he's he's still plugged up to the machine getting.
They got bad information.
Breathing. Yeah, like that's why I'm saying like it's a tough spot from a fan or consumer standpoint because we're in the era of so many people quote unquote reporting, and you see so many things that come across whatever site you're on.
Well, a lot of people want to be first. They don't want to be right. You know what I'm saying? And so I've heard that's why I'm not really going off of anything that anybody who said that's not directly linked to the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's where I'm at with it, man.
I mean, even his lawyer was wrong. His lawyer came out and said some wrong information. So it's but to just kind of close it up, I wish him well. I hope he turns the corner on this. It would, in an ideal world, it would be great if everybody looked out for everybody all the time. That's just not the reality of everything.
Yes,
and we can't really put our own problems on somebody else. In my opinion, we have to face them ourselves and face our own demons, as DMX wrote about his entire career. So,
yep. And if you follow him, as we have, and we're completely familiar with his entire career. If you listen to them albums, he's telling you, a lot of the stuff that he's been fighting, like it's on wax. You know what I'm saying?
If you see him live, I mean, a lot of people can Google a prayer that DMX does. I mean, he's a very spiritual individual. I've seen him live at least 3 times. I seen last time he was here, which was in 2019.
Yep.
He still does that. Every performance he does, he says a prayer. You can tell his heartfelt. He's praying for himself.
Yeah. Like I
praying for himself. He knows what's going on.
There's been so many. You can see clips of him. To Terry's point about the prayer for the live show, and like it's just sometimes you just see him break down, man, on the stage just because of all the stuff that he's battling, and that you can tell that shit is authentic. You know what I'm saying? Knowing his history and knowing who he is and what he's dealt with, it's 100% authentic. You know what I'm saying? So we all wish him well. Like I'm hoping everybody else does, but it's a tough spot, man. Like we came out of last year, 2020, and we talked about all the people, situations and people that we lost and all that. And it's like, man, we out the gate first quarter, and now you see DMX in this situation. It's just tough, man. It's just tough. So I'm really pulling for that brother, man, because
this is the wrong time too for individuals be trying to make a buck or gain clout off of his situation too.
Yeah,
that's lame altogether to me. Like, and Flex has a radio show, as ratings to keep up, and he's the first one to say some bullshit off the cuff, just like when he was beefing with Jay-Z and he jumped right back on his dick. You know what I'm saying? He's just got a bunch of corny shit going on, and I ain't taking nothing away from his legacy or what he did.
You can't.
At the same time, some of this shit just needs to stop.
He's easily your point. I don't know. Out in sports, we always talk about top 5 this, top 5 that, Mount Rushmore this, Mount Rushmore that. But Flex got to be top. He got to be top 5 corniest legend that I've ever seen. I'm talking about corniest legend. He's legendary from a DJ standpoint.
He is. Taking it away.
But he got to be one of the corniest legends I've ever seen.
I ain't seen a picture of him at the Rock Nation brunch yet, though.
Oh, I ain't seen him in there.
Not be invited.
I mean,
we got a long way to go.
I mean, look,
he still got a long way to go.
Flex does his thing, but I'm like, man, are you really out here trying to talk about hip hop? Like, shouldn't you be? You should be doing something like you're still doing the same thing you was doing in 1997.
I mean,
I mean, of course,
it's just one of those things, man. Talk to him. I wish we still had that.
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is, man. It has a clout chasing vibe to it. That's why it jumped out at me. I'm like, man, this don't even really look necessary, fam. Like, call his family if you're gonna call him. Check on him if you're gonna check on him. You know what I'm saying, and just leave it at that, bro. Like, it definitely had a clout vibe to it. That's what kind of turned me off on it. Came out the gate looking like clout.
Tell all these cornballs we hush puppies.
Ooh, I see you, Long. I see you.
It's not me, it's Lupe.
All right, man. But it's all right, though. It's all right. I knew where you was going. It sounded good when you said it. All right, all right, let's go ahead and jump into. I always show love to the chat. The chat pretty much, they got it cracking in here, too. Fox Pimp said he's a year older than you, Jay Moore. So be clear. He's the elder statesman.
That's fine. But I carry myself as an elder statesman. I don't try to act like I'm not trying to out here wear red tennis shoes and spending like thousands of dollars on beard dye.
You can't wear red tennis shoes once you become a sir.
Once again, I tell people this. I am cool. I'm cool for 43, but I understand that I'm not cool anymore. So
there we go. There we go.
Once you have that understanding that you are an elder statesman in this game, you don't try to keep up with the youngsters. You impart knowledge and you keep it on your level. You know what I'm saying? You sip your
Did you trade in the tennis shoes for red gators?
Did
you while they out there drinking that blue drink, you go ahead and enjoy your scotch. You know what I'm saying? You understand that, you have something else to offer.
Hey, Moore, please be clear though. Don't let nobody tell you, them red gators that you wanted. Like Terry said, you trade them in for the red gators and that linen suit that you're gonna wear to that next Frankie Beverly and Maze concert. Please believe that still can work. I'm talking about that can work. I mean, it's just a new phase. That's all.
I'm not that old. Calm down.
Hey, Biggie was rapping about Fuchsia Gators, and he passed when he was 25. So you ripe for the picking for some red gators, sir. If you trade tennies.
No, I'm just saying. I look. I'm more about my my fine polo loafers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just saying. I'm gonna still keep it in my era. You know what I'm saying? But
if it ever get back,
I'm not trying to look. This is the thing. I'm not trying to compete with this. This is the worst thing you try to see when I'm out in the clubs. And like I said, I know where I'm at. And I know how to move and shake. When I see somebody that's my age trying to have on some jeans that got all the bedazzling on them, and they got on the too tight white t-shirt and the white sunglasses, and they just look old because they still behind on the fashion. Like, no, just do you, fam. Don't try. I'm not trying to compete with 23-year-old
bedazzled jeans. I don't care how much these jeans cost. Be walking around with bedazzled jeans on, man.
Look, this is how you can tell. This is how you can tell an old dude in the club
with Levi's. I'm telling you.
This is how you can really tell an old dude in the club because he's still dressing like the franchise boys.
Find me.
Couldn't be able to get in the club.
Find me in the old folks section with a nice clear cup of scotch or something. I'll be in the old folks section. I'll gladly be in the old folks section.
I mean, but you know, this is the thing, and I'm gonna give you some game. This is why it's so easy for dudes my age to steal young girls about the club. Not that I do this.
A minute now. Wait.
Because
let's rephrase that one again. Run that one back. Let's try that one again. I ain't like that one. Let's try that one again.
I'm saying, I'm talking about young girl who are able to get into the club. That means you're 21 or better.
Okay.
Saying the R. Kelly conversation.
I wanted to make sure it ain't come off too good right there. You're stealing young girls out the club. You know what I'm talking about? We trying to get monetized. That's all.
See, the thing is, like I said, young dude, like this is the thing. If anybody watched this week's Versus, and this is how sensitive this new generation is. Like Steve Harvey says I hated all the stories he told about high school, but he said something that was very real and people got in their feelings about. Because he said, man, I went out one night and I saw some dudes dancing with each other. Mm-hmm. And I brought that up more than once.
You document that shit. Yeah. You document that.
And the thing is, everybody wants to say, oh, that's problematic or he's being homophobic. See, I'm not talking about, my gay brothers who like to dance with each other. That's cool because that's what you're supposed to be doing. I'm talking about straight dudes who are so into what they're doing and they don't even realize that they're dancing with other dudes. They don't even realize how it looks when I'm up on high and looking down low. They don't even understand how it looks.
Hey, well, listen.
Why does it matter?
So
I knew it.
That's the thing. Like when they're over there out trying to outdance each other, that's when I can if that's how I got down, that's how I can go over and say to a little sexy 26-year-old and be like, hey, has anybody bought you a drink tonight? Well, then come on and go with me.
Y'all missed it though. Y'all missed it though. Lone snuck something in, but I'm not gonna do this because I know where this is gonna go. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the next topic. He snuck one in on the low. He snuck something in on the low. I'm not gonna do it. All right, let's go to this.
I just said why does it matter? That's all.
I mean, no, it doesn't matter.
Let these straight dudes dance with straight dudes. It's all good.
Here we go.
As long as they're not, they don't have to be bonering each other's penises.
Here we go.
Hey. But while these straight dudes are dancing, while these young straight dudes, there's some old men that got a little money to buy drinks and they know how to move and shake that are going and they're taking them 20-year-old girls out the club. Not me,
on the low,
but I'm saying it can happen.
Okay, all right.
Don't be on the low. They be on the front page. They ain't trying to hide shit. Yeah. Them old players. They want you to know.
Embrace your age, brothers, and just evolve. That's all we ask. And just embrace your age and evolve. That's what we're looking for. All right, man. Let's go to this next topic.
I don't need to say pause. That's the point. I don't need to say pause because I'm comfortable with myself.
The club ain't the same as it was when we first started going to the club. Let's just leave it at that.
It's not. And shout out to Waffle House Pimp for saying say pause long and not saying say pause long. So we appreciate you. All right, man. So let's go to the next topic. So just recently came up on the 2-year anniversary of Nip passing and Nipsey Hussle. And I remember us. This shows how long we've been rocking. Like we've done how many shows since then when he actually passed. I remember us coming on and talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's been at least 104.
Yeah, man, it's crazy when you sit back and think about it. Because I remember Lone was playing me. We were listening to Victory Lap, and I remember telling Lone like, I love this intro. This is one of the coldest intros I've heard. And he was talking about some drum programming, and we were talking about section leaders and stuff like that. I remember when that album came out, and records extremely dope. But I'm looking at it 2 years later, after he's passed, iconic figure. I posed a question in terms of him. The phrase was, hell, the Crips even tried to patent that mug, the marathon continues. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was saying that after Nip passed away. But if you think about it now, the store is closed. He really was about trying to, grow that area in the hood and give back to the hood. And we really don't hear a lot about, dude that shot him. And I don't see too many people doing a lot of Nipsey rallies in terms of making sure that this dude gets what he's supposed to get. But I say that to say, not necessarily saying that Nip's legacy is not living on, but how do y'all feel about certain things, like in terms from a standpoint of the marathon continuing? Has it continued since he's passed? Like, do you feel like people are still, he's living on through all of the stuff that he was trying to, accomplish from the ownership standpoint, just the dude that he was in the community? Because I see certain things, I'm like, man, it's kind of continuing, but I also could look at it from a standpoint of we just rock Crenshaw stuff once a year and it kind of goes away. So maybe I'm just playing devil's advocate, but how do y'all feel about that, man? Has the marathon continued since he's passed? Jay Moore, I'll come to you first.
Honestly, no. I mean, other than the fact that we did get a Nipsey and Jay-Z track, but I mean, it just shows you there was so much bandwagon love that came for Nipsey after he passed. I remember, and then, of course, like I can say that we gave him his flowers when he was here. We talked talked about Victory Lap and how great it was, and when it was time for us to make our year-end list, everyone had Victory Lap. I
was a fan way before Victory Lap. So
we weren't just all of a sudden start talking about Nipsey Hussle after he died. But, I remember, how I felt like the next day when I started hearing people on quote unquote hip hop radio talking about, yeah, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. I was like, oh, y'all didn't never have him in your playlist. Don't talk about Nipsey Hussle now because, he's a trending topic. And I feel like that's what happened for a lot of people. Like they weren't really on board with Nipsey and his music and his message until he died. And so that bandwagon love only lasts but for so long. And so, I still hear his music a little bit out in the club, but not really. Not like it was. But also Nipsey didn't, Nipsey was one of those cats that planned for a long life. So it wasn't like with Pac, who always saw death around the corner, who had 6 and 7 albums worth of material just waiting. Like we don't have, that next Nipsey project that's on deck, so things move so fast. There's been so much that's happened since then with the pandemic and sadly so many other rappers that have passed, due to, violent means that, we mourn Nipsey, we miss him. But for us to say the marathon continues, I mean, maybe because I'm not in South Central Los Angeles, and
that's what I was going to bring up, because we're not out there, so it could be a little different out there.
But on a nation, do I still say it on the microphone when I'm hosting a party? Yeah, but like I don't know about everybody else, and it's sad because once again, things move so quickly and we move on so quickly, sadly. It's like, I mean, I remember when I told y'all about how everybody was asking for FBG Duck and King Von. Now that there's been some time that's passed, people aren't asking for those records anymore because once again, a lot of people were bandwagon fans. And now that the moment has passed on, then they've moved on. And I feel like a lot of people have done that with Nipsey. Now that he's kind of out of sight, out of mind, we're not thinking about Lauren London and her children anymore. We've moved on. And does it carry on for some folks in some places? But as a movement, no. Unfortunately, the marathon has not continued, and it's disappointing.
Oh,
I don't think I am going to agree with you guys because
okay.
I always considered the marathon continue to not be about Nipsey personally, but more so about what he embodied,
Mhm.
and more specifically, th- the things that he was striving for, as far as he bought a corner in the neighborhood. It was completely black owned. All of the ideas that he encompassed. I always took
Mhm.
the marathon continues as a grind. He was a hustler, and I always, no matter what, we're going to continue to grind and to build a better life, and bring things, help things become more equitable as they grow. I never really looked at the marathon continuing as something that was personally for Nipsey, and I don't know if I would think that he would expect that, but I could be wrong. I don't know. So
That's
when
real.
you,
That's a good point. That's a
so
good
when you,
point.
No,
so when you brought,
I can see where you're coming from there. I can see where you're coming from there.
so when you brought up this originally, when I saw it as a chat item, I didn't really understand what the conversation was, because I feel like the people that are going to embrace it will embrace it, and the people that won't. If we're going to talk about specifically who's keeping his name alive, I think that's maybe a different conversation for me. But I just wanted to articulate kind of the different, what I kind of got from the marathon continues. So
Now,
I'm with
kinda
I'm
along
with
the
you.
same line as that, because you have to realize too that last year was a wash. The COVID breakout and pretty much put everything on pause. You're talking about the marathon store. I didn't know that it closed down. You said it closed?
I didn't know
If
that
I
either.
now we just talked about reading and things, so I could have got a bad lead, but I felt
I'll look it up.
I felt like it had
Heard that it
been
closed.
I feel like it had been broken into or something and vandalized, and they had to shut it down. If I'm not, like, again, I could be wrong, but I feel like it was vandalized and they shut it down.
I hadn't read anything about that, but in the same token, to Lone's point, marathon itself is a lifestyle. It's not just that clothing store.
Okay.
He had his hand in a lot of stuff in the community as far as STEM programs for kids and make sure certain things were getting funded.
Yep.
And I mean, he still has the relationship with Puma. Lauren London was recently promoting something that had just happened with Nip. That too. I think a lot of that, like Jay Moore was saying, that surface level on a claim like you down love wasn't the love that was perceived or was given in the first place. So that's not necessarily needed. Those that were on board beforehand, the marathon definitely continues because it, like Long said, it's bigger than just Nip. It's more the lifestyle that he's living, the jewels that he was dropping, the foundation that he was building, and there's still relationships that he had with those same people out in California that are still going on right now. His family, I mean, they literally just wrapped up that lawsuit with the Crips.
Yeah.
As far as the marathon continue with his brother Sam, they just recently wrapped that up within like the last month.
Yeah.
So if it's deep enough for them to want to take that to court, because they're fighting to try to use it, I mean, you got to know that something's coming with this. It's not something that just died with Nip. And unfortunately, there was a lot of, again, clout chasers who claimed that they was down with Nip, and they never was in the first place. So, still waving the flag.
Just as a little update here, so Lauren London made a post on Instagram that said that the brick and mortar stores, the flagship is closed, but their online store is open 24/7.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, to Lone, actually, Terry, you and Lone make valid points because, and that's why I opened it by saying, am I playing, devil's advocate? I don't know, because you can look at it from different angles. Lone's angle, actually, both of y'all angles is spot on, because I would fall under that umbrella being a fan of his. because of what he stood for and the example that he set. Those are things that I liked about him the most. I do think he, inspired a generation of kids that are going to come up after him, especially like you said, Terry, with the schools and the murals and all the things that he was doing in the community outside the store. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think all those types of things, Lone's point, fall into the marathon continuing. So, those are good points. It's just crazy, man, when you think about it's like I think it was on Boys in the Hood. I think it was Doughboy that said after Ricky got killed, they punched the wrong clock. You know what I'm saying? And I just always think about that line in relation to Nip, because who just punched the wrong clock on him, man. He had so many things that was going on, but I just hope that it is continuing because of the guy that he was and some of the stuff that he laid down for a foundation. And like I said, like me and Jay Moore were talking about, out west, I'm sure they probably still rocking with him, and we might not feel it around here in the Midwest like they do out there. So I could definitely see that. But
he's got little kids. He got a legacy that's on the up and coming. I mean, he had a stepfather to Lil Wayne's son. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that influence is definitely going to keep on generating and keep on building from them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might see a marathon continue, shit pop up 10 years from now. It's on them carrying the flag.
Yeah. And I Terry, I hope everything you said is the case, man. Because he's one of those dudes that we just can't get lost and have him lost in the sauce, man. So I hope everything that y'all said is correct. Emma can continue to go on, because I think it's needed, and he definitely was on the right track for sure, in my personal opinion. You want to go ahead and shout out our partners real quick before we try to get this last topic in?
Sure. Shouts to Sun King. Shouts to No Bad Ideas.
Thank you.
Shouts to Coleman Dental. Shouts to Printfinity. Shouts to bringing down the band.
Bada boom, bada bing.
There's one more. Who am I missing? Shouts to No Bad Ideas.
But No Bad Ideas. I think we got it.
Okay.
So, as you all know, we always appreciate our partnerships, and God continue to say, man, once it gets right, quote unquote, we really want to continue to grow those relationships, because they've done a great job with us thus far, and some longer than others, but the newer ones are just as important. So we really appreciate the partner.
I'll go ahead and play that right now.
We'd like to thank our partners for the New Old Heads podcast. No Bad Ideas Clothing Company, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, Sun King Brewery, and the hub for all things New Old Heads, bringingdowntheband.com. Remember, once you type Bringing Down the Band in the search bar on YouTube and the page populates, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And as always, we thank you for your support. Now back to the show. All right, so shout out to our partners as always. As we said, Brother to the Night said, Lone, you forgot Coleman Dental. I think he tripping, because I believe you said Coleman Dental first, if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna give Brother
But either way,
the L for that one.
Either way,
paying attention.
we can say Coleman Dental multiple times. It's perfectly
Shout
fine.
out to the Drunken Nights podcast too, while we talking about
sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Y'all.
Yes, they got their YouTube channel together, so definitely subscribe to the Drunken Nights YouTube. You know what I'm saying? They got their visual thing. So and Brother to the Night, you know what I'm saying? We gonna be we back for real. We back for real at the Casbah this weekend. So I'm putting it out there. We're ready to go.
It's real low key, since we talking about the Drunken Nights. It's real low key, Brother to the Night. I've been seeing you moving out here in these streets on them tables. I saw it during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? And now you out here, name on the flyers, and in the club telling people not to come up to the DJ booth if I was to take a guest. So we see you out here making the moves, brother. We see you out here. Don't get Hollywood though. We appreciate you getting in the chat. You know what I'm saying? We see you motivating or moving out there though.
Already. I'm gonna come back outside with you.
Jay Diff is on deck, man. Y'all get ready to book that boy. He is on deck and ready to get back out here in them streets, 100% vaccinated. So always like to shout out the homies that be on them tables and really getting busy. All right, so let's go to the fader here for this last one. Shout out to the fader. Cite your sources before we get out of here. So the headline, Jay Moore brought this one up. I was asleep. I wasn't aware that this was an issue. It's this one. It says YG's My Crazy Life, and this article was posted on 4/6. YG's My Crazy Life is streaming again. It's an edited version of Meet the Flockers, and it says the song has been a target of renewed criticism over lyrics about targeting Chinese neighborhoods for robbery. I'm sorry. It says My Crazy Life, the 2014 debut album from YG, has returned to the music streaming platforms after a brief disappearance on Monday, as Pitchfork reported. The project's song Meet the Flockers has been newly edited to remove a lyric about burglarizing Chinese neighborhoods. Lyrics that come under scrutiny once more this month following a wave of anti-Asian hate crimes in the United States. Meet the Flockers was the target of a petition in 2006 from Chinese Americans accusing the song of racism. So it sounds like they have they're back to streaming, but edited
Came out
version of that song.
When that song come out?
2014 on his debut album.
You said 2006 though.
And they had a petition.
Yeah, that's what you said.
So
maybe
I say
2016.
2016 there was a petition that they had against that was a separate situation on this same song.
Okay.
2016, but I guess they got the edited version now. And Jay Moore brought that one to our attention before we came on. So Jay Moore, what rubbed you the wrong way about this one, man? Because I was asleep on this until we got a chance to read the article on the Fader.
Well, it rubbed me the wrong way because the thing is, I'm not about censorship in any way, shape, or form. And while I'm also not for any sort of anti Asian racism or violence, because I think that's really a problem. But I also think it's a problem that they're trying, and like I said, I'm conspiracy brother. I also see where they're trying to make black people the face of anti-Asian racism when it's really the same white supremacists who have been targeting us all. We have a common enemy in all this, but for whatever reason, they're trying to make it seem like all of a sudden black people are just wildly anti-racist against Asians. And I'm just saying that's not where we're at. But I look at it like this. Okay, if you're going to say, okay, we got to yank this YG video because it has some questionable lyrics and and he's telling his story and whatever. But if we're going to do that, then okay, first of all, YouTube seems to also be a platform for a lot of white nationalists who want to talk their shit, and their videos are still up.
A lot of them are getting banned.
Are they?
A lot of them are getting banned, but you know what? Yeah. As soon as we're quick to go ahead and grab down these rap videos, but also let's just keep it real. If we're going to talk about violence against communities, okay, then what about every rap song that has something to say, yo, I'm gonna go and shoot so and so, or I'm gonna do this, that, and the third? Then in violence, and say it's black on black violence, and say I'm somebody who wants to go ahead and say, all right, well, if we're gonna talk about anti-Asian violence, then what about black on black violence? Then we need to start snatching every rap video that it contains that as well. I'm once again, I am not endorsing any anti-Asian language or any anti-Asian sentiment. I don't F with any type of anything that's rooted in white supremacy, because really that's where it all comes from. But I'm also against any type of censorship, and it's a slippery slope. Because if we say, okay, we're going to snatch down this, then anything that's talking about, a black man killing another black man, then there's somebody who could say, well, you know what, I want that down too.
You're looking for the consistency if we're going to go about it.
If it's anything talking about, any level of violence against any person, then I want that down. Because we just
that's
have
not the sentiment though. That's not the sentiment. That's not the sentiment they're saying here. They're targeting specific racism as opposed to the falsehood of black on black violence would be not racism. I mean, the sentiment of saying it is, but those are two different ideas, aren't they?
Well, then if I'm someone who works within the black community and I'm trying to and I find that these particular words in these particular songs are something that I find that are detrimental to my community,
Okay.
because I could say that. I could say like this particular, rat-a-tat-tat, never hesitate to put it on his back. Okay, well, I want that off as well, because I feel like that is something that is spearing a certain level of violence of black people, of hurting other black people. Because if it's black people just hurting Asian people, then okay, I once again I understand where there's this issue there, but then like it's a slippery slope, because like
let me ask this. So
what's that?
Is the song specifically about targeting this group of people? I haven't heard the song.
So
Sounds
the lyrics,
like it's an
the lyrics
isolated
go-
bar to me, right?
Yeah, the lyrics are: first, you find a house and scope it out. Find a Chinese neighborhood because they don't believe in bank accounts. That's the line.
Okay.
So to me,
Find a
in my
neighborhood.
personal opinion, that's not necessarily a racist line. That's
It's just a little
What'd
insensitive.
you call it? What'd you call it?
I wouldn't say racist. I mean, he's saying
Read the bar again, Long.
he's pretty
First,
much talking
you
about
find,
going in the house.
First you find a house.
because they got money in there. They
Yeah,
don't have
first you-
bank accounts.
First, you find a house and scope it out. Find a Chinese neighborhood because they don't believe in bank accounts. Now, there might be other
That don't-
lines too, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
it might be if there has to be some other context in that to me for it to be considered racist.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of this stuff is stemming from it does ring true. Everybody wants to bring attention to certain things that specifically mention them without knowing the context of it. Automatically assume that it's racist. That's what I'm thinking it is. I mean, the movie Gran Torino with Eastwood
Yeah.
is way more racist than that line. You know what I'm saying? If that's what we're going for.
Mm.
If you're picking just that particular line, stating that it's racist against a group of people, I'm not really going for that. I mean, because you know how many times people say some Jew shit in raps or songs or whatever, you don't hear them saying anything. And then it's most of the time it's about being a financially frugal or monetarily responsible, things like that.
Well,
How-
remember they
how
got
is
on
that
LeBron's
racist?
head about that, even though he thought he was doing something complimentary to the Jewish, culture.
Yeah. They got it. They really was on his
DJ.
head about that. Yeah.
What did he say?
I can't remember the exact quote. I don't want to misquote it, but I remember him getting mad, backlash. To Jay Moore's point, it was something.
It was something about them
been
being
taken, I
like
guess, him kinda-
it's messed up, because it was something about them being, good with money and taking care of business.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
like, you got to understand that stereotype is why so many times, if you go through history, why our Jewish brothers and sisters have been targeted and been made scapegoats for certain things. So,
So
Yeah.
so in the
even though
same
it's
token-
even though it's complimentary, like, they don't see it
taking
as
that-
such, because that what we think is
I'm
a
taking that
compliment,
compliment
they
all day.
realize that's what's made them a target.
They literally put being lazy on black people, motherfuckers that built the damn country. So how do you have a whole group of people that built the country? You sit back and watched it, and then when they decided they didn't want to work free no more, all of a sudden they're lazy.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
type
that's
of
the thing.
stereotypes. That's the
Called,
type of stereotypes that aren't cool. If it's a positive stereotype, I mean, who's tripping on that? Who's causing a
But once
fuss
again,
about?
it's not that it's a positive. See, the thing is that positive stereotype, while we think it's positive, like it's been enough to make Jewish people be a scapegoat. It was like, oh well, they run the media and they own all the businesses in the neighborhood, and then people become resentful And look, that was enough. Even a little bit of the truth that was in there was enough for for them to become targets during in Germany before World War II. We saw how that played out. So that's why they're so sensitive about that sort of thing. But at the same time, what you alluded to,
they need to be more sensitive to other plights, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm not even about to get deep with the situation because it seems like everything is glossed over for certain individuals, but on the other side of the tracks or coin, it's always such a big deal. Another level, you know what I'm saying? This is a conversation for another day.
This is it is, but but at the same time, like, it's crazy how, just like you alluded to, where they talked about how black people are lazy, but we built the country. Like, think about it, black people aren't lazy, and it was the white people who brought us here who were lazy because they didn't want to do the work. And they want to talk about how Jewish people are cheap. White people, just straight up white people, are the ones that didn't want to pay people to do work. So don't talk about how these other people are these terrible things that really are attributed to you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's going and on for that one. I think
we kind of got off topic, but basically back to. But I'm talking about censorship. I'm talking about censorship and sensitivities.
I think we were still. I think it's still within the same pocket. I don't think it was off. I think it was still in the same pocket. I mean, go ahead, Lon.
If we think about it, Asian Americans are still a marginalized group in America, right?
Right.
And so if they feel like something is detrimental in some language in some way, and Asian Americans or Chinese Americans in this specific instance are get offended at this line, I'm personally along the lines of listening to what they have to say and why they might be offended by it. Now, I agree with you guys that I don't really see the offense in this. This doesn't really seem offensive, but maybe there's some sort of nuance that I just don't grasp because I'm not Chinese. That's the part that I don't get, so, and I come at this standpoint because there have been many times in my life where I have seen things that have been called racist, and I at the time was like, I don't necessarily understand why that is racist, towards Black Americans. And then you sit back and you listen a little bit and like, okay, I see the nuance there, but there's no other way for me to grasp it. Again, this doesn't seem like it's problematic at all, but I don't know,
I think we have to be careful with, to Lone's point, you have to be careful with
what offends who?
Yeah, what offends who? But it's also like
I'm with
perception.
I'm with that.
Perception, though, because I can't necessarily relate.
My wife is half Asian. My mother-in-law is Asian. My sister-in-law is Asian. Brother-in-law.
Right.
So I agree with that, but in the same token, meat and potatoes here are people targeting Asian people and doing hate crimes.
Right.
I'm saying specifically seeking them out.
And that's whack.
That type.
That's 100% whack. That's bullshit. I agree.
And this might be opinion. I'm not saying it's fact. To me, those are not the same as that particular lyric. Shit's ridiculous what's going on as far as that's concerned. And we need to call out the culprits that's actually doing it, rather than trying to point blame at people that aren't necessarily participating in that act. Where I'm at with it.
Well, no, I just recently saw Exhibit. Some of y'all know him as part of Liquid Crew. Some of y'all know him as Pimp My Ride, but Exhibit.
Still know him.
He's into the legal marijuana business, and one of his strains is called napalm. And napalm is basically like a weaponized, gasoline. That but now they want to come after him because napalm was used during the Vietnam War, and so they've considered it's an anti-Asian. They consider the whole term napalm as being anti-Asian. Like, it's warlike, and of course, like this is somebody who's had, Man or Machine or Man of War. Like he's had songs called. He had a song called Napalm. You know what I'm saying? More like yo, I'm spitting this fire.
Right.
That had no connotation to aggression or any violence towards the Asian community. So now they're coming after him, and it's like I said, this is where the slippery slope gets involved.
Man.
But
Yeah,
this isn't new, because I remember when, and this is going back a ways, when Puff Daddy or Diddy or Brother Love, or whenever he had a record out called Diddy, and I remember he had some line. It was like, I got Asian women who changed my linen, and I remember they had to resend out the CDs, and they had to go and re-edit the video and take the word Asian out. So maybe there's a sensibility that we don't understand and we need to be schooled on. But at the same time, like, it's a very slippery slope when we're talking about, okay, we're going to take YG's video off of YouTube because a few people at, the company say at Google are like, yo, we got to get rid of this because there's anti-Asian sentiment. Like, even though that's not what it is, he's telling a story. And once again, maybe it's not the most responsible story, but a lot of times in hip hop, these are not extremely responsible stories, because if we're going to go down that line, there's going to be a lot more songs we got to take off of YouTube. And I just don't want, I want us to be careful.
Maybe that's the answer.
Maybe that censorship here.
Just get rid of all the art.
About to his point about it not being new, like I remember when Busta had Arab money. Like, it was people talking about that.
Well, because I remember because they resent out those CDs, because instead of saying Arab instead of, and then they changed it to Arab. Because that's how you're supposed to say it. Just like I didn't realize how messed up it was for someone to say, Italian instead of Italian until somebody told me. I said, there are nuances, and sometimes there are cultural blind spots that we have to be schooled on. But at the same time, we can't make it into, oh, we hate these people, or this is something that's about aggression, because sometimes there's a cultural blind spot. Now, at the same time, when we school people on those cultural blind spots and they continue to do things, then we can get into, okay, you did that specifically because you were on some hate and shit.
Right, I'm with that. I'm totally with that. What I'm totally against is not getting at the cats that are actually the hateful and spiteful individuals.
Exactly.
We
in here, we're doing all this infighting, and we're still not rounding up all the people who ran up in the Capitol and with Confederate flags, because at the end of the day, that's everybody's enemy, and we're in here fighting with each other.
Somebody just got killed at the Capitol building a week ago. Yeah,
police officer.
Yeah. I'll tell you, you on the money with that. I agree with you 100%. Everybody made good points. It's just slippery slope, man. Like, it's.
But also at the same,
going after what's the name for the napalm strain.
At the same time, we have to be able to be grown enough as creatives to realize that if we fuck up, and that maybe we need to edit some of our shit. And I think what would happen with this song is they uploaded an edited version of the song, and then that that fixed it, It doesn't mean that apparently this has been an issue for like 5-6 years, and it's just now, it took all of this to get it addressed for whatever reason. So,
well, at least it happened a lot faster
the only
than a lot of this other shit that's going on.
But this
isn't even ask for it. It's happening now.
But this isn't. We can't like act like this is the only problematic line in hip hop that should probably. You know what I mean?
Like, that's where I'm. That's where I'm coming from.
I'm saying from the beginning.
Yeah, so. No, 100% long. That's be clear. It's way more that you can pick apart. So yeah, I'm definitely with y'all on that. Good points, man. That's good talk right there. Good topics. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Did I forget anything? Is there anything else y'all want to mention? Shout out to the chat as well. I don't see any more comments in there. Y'all might have just been soaking this one up.
Subscribe if you want. That helps us.
Yeah.
Hop on that Patreon.
Yes. Hop on that Patreon. Hop on Twitch too. Make sure you subscribe. I'll be on tomorrow night for the 7th quarter. My dude, Mike Bennett, from Indiana All-Star. All-State Cardinals going to be on the show. Maybe we're going to talk some sports, have some fun with that. So make sure y'all subscribe to the network. Give me a follow if you want as well. Try to do some more beat stuff, man. I'm trying to get my streamer game up to at least a B-. But as always, we really appreciate the support. Wherever you can find us, support us and follow us. That does aid us in our process of growing and continuing to give y'all this good content, man. So we appreciate all the supporters, all the lurkers and haters. We love y'all too. And we'll see y'all next week.
Ready. Peace.